It was supposed to be the happiest time of their lives, a dream honeymoon on a quiet sunlit beach after a perfect wedding. Josh and Emily had only been married for 5 days when everything changed. One moment, they were sipping coconut water under a palm tree, laughing about how surreal it all felt. The next, Emily was gone. No goodbye. No signs of struggle. Just vanished. At first, Josh thought maybe she'd gone for a walk or stepped into the hotel for something. But minutes turned into hours, and panic slowly set in. Hotel staff searched the grounds. Police combed the shoreline. Locals said they hadn't seen her. There were no clues. No calls, nothing. Desperate and sleepless. Josh went back to their hotel room and started flipping through the photos from their wedding day, something to hold on to, something that reminded him she was real. That's when he noticed something strange in one of the photos. It was a candid shot taken right after the ceremony. Josh and Emily were smiling, holding hands. But behind them, near the edge of the frame, there was a figure. A blurry face. Not someone they knew, not a guest. And definitely not part of the venue staff. His heart raced. He zoomed in. The closer he looked, the more he realized this wasn't just some random photobomber. It felt intentional. Like whoever it was. They were watching. And that's when everything about Emily's disappearance started to feel far more sinister than anyone imagined. Josh couldn't shake the feeling that he had seen the face before somewhere, somehow, but his mind was foggy from exhaustion and fear. He stared at the photo for hours, enlarging it, sharpening it, comparing it with other pictures. In every single shot, the same person appeared somewhere in the background. Not close, never obvious, but always there, watching, blending in, just enough to go unnoticed on the first glance. The police didn't take it seriously at first. They called it paranoia, said stress can play tricks on people. But Josh knew something was off. Emily would never leave without saying anything. She wasn't impulsive, and she didn't wander off. She was cautious, especially in a foreign country. As the investigation stalled, Josh started digging into their past few weeks. He looked through social media posts, hotel security footage, anything he could get access to. Then he remembered something Emily had said a few days before the wedding. It didn't seem like much at the time. She'd laughed and mentioned that she felt like someone was following her during a dress fitting downtown. Josh had brushed it off, thinking it was just nerves. Now, it felt like a missing puzzle piece. He called the bridal shop and asked if their security cameras were still active. When he received the footage, his heart sank. There it was again, that same face, standing just outside the window, staring in. Whoever this person was, they hadn't just shown up at the wedding. They'd been watching Emily for a while. Josh replayed the bridal shop footage over and over, freezing the frame every time that shadowy figure appeared. Same coat, same face, same blank stare. It was too much to ignore now. This wasn't coincidence. This was stalking, planned and deliberate. But the police still weren't giving him real help. They said unless there was proof of a crime or a direct threat, there was little they could do outside of their jurisdiction. Feeling helpless, Josh started digging into their guest list and wedding vendors, wondering if maybe the stalker had gotten in through someone they knew. He called the photographer, asking for all the raw files. What he found made his stomach turn. Same figure, always hovering in the background, wasn't just in the ceremony photos. They were in shots from the rehearsal dinner too. And even in the airport, where he and Emily had taken a quick selfie before boarding their flight. This person had followed them all the way from home. Meanwhile, Emily's parents were starting to grow frustrated with the lack of answers. Her mother insisted Emily would never just vanish. She began pushing her own theory that maybe someone close to them had been involved. Maybe even someone from the groom's side. The tension started to rise between families, straining what was already an unbearable situation. Josh was torn between grief, guilt, and fear. He kept asking himself, how had he not seen the signs? And more importantly, how close had this person actually gotten to Emily before she disappeared? Josh didn't sleep much after that. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw that face, expressionless, distant, yet always watching. He started keeping notes, tracking the places the figure had appeared, lining them up with dates and times. The timeline was clear now. This wasn't random. It had been building for months. Someone had been following Emily long before their honeymoon, and now she was gone. One evening, while scanning through metadata from the wedding photos, Josh noticed something strange. One of the pictures had been taken with a different camera one that didn't belong to their photographer. Its GPS data showed a location just outside the wedding venue, near a wooded area no guests had gone near. Josh felt a chill crawl up his spine. Someone had been taking pictures of them, too. He returned to the venue the next day, retracing every step. The forest nearby was thick, quiet, and untouched. About a quarter-mile in, he found something wedged under a rock near an old stone bench, an SD card, wrapped in plastic. His hands trembled as he pocketed it and left, his mind racing with questions. Back at his hotel, he loaded the card onto his laptop. Dozens of photos popped up. Some were of the wedding, others of Emily walking alone, shopping, laughing, unaware she was being watched. Then he saw the final image, Emily, on the beach from the day she vanished. Only this time, she wasn't alone, and the person beside her was facing the camera. Josh stared at the screen, frozen. The final photo was clearer than any of the others. Emily stood near the shoreline, her back half turned, looking uneasy. But the real shock was the man beside her, the same face from the wedding photo, the shop footage, and the airport. Only now Josh could see him in full. And he recognized him. It wasn't just a stranger. It was someone from his past. A former friend, Ryan Keller. They hadn't spoken in years, not since a falling out over something Josh had pushed far from memory. Ryan had disappeared from his life completely, or so he thought. But now, here he was, not only at Josh's wedding, but standing beside Emily just before she vanished. Josh's heart pounded. Why would Ryan do this? Why hadn't he recognized him sooner in the blurry background of all those images? The years had changed his face, aged him. But now it was clear. And terrifying. He dug through old social media accounts, long forgotten. Emails, anything that could give him a clue. That's when he found something chilling, an old photo of Emily and Josh at a university event, long before they were engaged. In the background, half hidden, stood Ryan. Watching, he had been around far longer than either of them realized. Josh suddenly understood this wasn't just about jealousy or a grudge. This had been planned, obsessed over. And now, Emily's disappearance felt less like a mystery and more like revenge. Josh booked the next flight home, heart racing the whole way. With the SD card in hand and Ryan's face burned into his memory, he went straight to the authorities. This time, they listened. The evidence was too specific to ignore photos, timestamps, and a name. A nationwide alert was sent out, and within 48 hours, Ryan Keller's location pinged from a storage unit registered under a fake name just outside the city. When police arrived, what they found inside confirmed everything. Maps, photos of Emily. Notes with dates and locations, years of tracking. But more shocking was a burner phone left behind with one recent message saved in drafts. Asterisk, she's safe. I did what you asked. Asterisk, the signal traced to a private cabin in the woods 3 hours north. When authorities reached the property, they found Emily alive, unharmed, but deeply shaken. She had been held there, not by force, but by manipulation. Ryan had convinced her she was in danger from someone else, twisting the truth, isolating her slowly until she no longer knew who to trust. Josh broke down when he saw her. Everything he feared and everything he hoped for collided at once. She was safe, but changed, and just as they thought it was over, one final twist came. Among Ryan's belongings was a second SD card. It held one photo, Josh and Emily at a cafe. Taken just a week before their engagement, in the corner sat a woman neither of them recognized. Watching, smiling, the woman in the cafe photo wasn't anyone Josh or Emily knew at least, not at first. But after investigators ran a few background checks, they found her name connected to Ryan through an old college forum. She had disappeared years ago without explanation. Suddenly, everything felt bigger than just a single obsession. It seemed Ryan had been part of something deeper, something that may never be fully understood. Emily returned home quietly, avoiding the spotlight. The media had caught wind of her safe recovery, but she and Josh kept their story private. They needed time to heal, to talk, to rebuild what had nearly been lost. For Emily, the hardest part was accepting that she hadn't imagined the fear, the feeling of being watched. It had been real all along. Josh took down all the wedding photos, not out of anger or regret, but because he didn't want that day remembered through the lens of what followed. Instead, they started taking new photos. Small moments, quiet walks, dinner on the porch, pieces of life they once took for granted.